page 6. השתחווה לשלוש הבנים היקרות הנעלות. כך שמעתי. פעם אחת ישב בבגבה לאחר פסגת הנשר דרגת ריאה, יחד עם סמכה גדולה של נזירים להסמכה מלאה וסמכה גדולה של בודיסטווה. באותה העת היה בגבה שקוע בעיצוב מדיטטיבי של מניית התופעות הקרוי בחרה העמוקה. כמו כן באותה עת התבונן הבודיסטווה מעסטווה אריה אבלוקשישבר הרב העוצמה במעשה המעמיק של שלמות החוכמה, והתבונן אף בחמשת המצטרפים האלה כריקים מעצם טבעה. ואז מכוח הבודה אמר כך שריקודרה הנכבד לבודיסטווה מעסטווה אריה אבלוקשישבר הרב העוצמה. כיצד יתאמן אותו בן השושלת הרוצה לעסוק במעשה המעמיק של שלמות החוכמה? מי שאמר זאת, השיב כך הבודיסטווה מעסטווה אריה אבלוקשישבר הרב העוצמה לשריקודרה הנכבד. שריקודרה, בן השושלת או בת השושלת הרוצים לעסוק במעשה המעמיק של שלמות החוכמה, התבוננו כך. התבוננו עד תום אף בחמשת המצטרפים האלה כריקים מעצם טבעם. החומר ריק, הריקות היא חומר, אין ריקות מלבד חומר, ואין חומר מלבד ריקות. כמו כן, תחושה, הבחנה, גורמים מורכבים בתודעה ריקים. שריקודרה, כך כל התופעות הן ריקות, נטולות מאפיינים, לא נוצרות, לא פוסקות, נטולות זיהומים, מופרדות מזיהומים, ללא התמעטות, ללא התמלאות. שריקודרה, לפיכך לריקות אין חומר, אין תחושה, אין הבחנה, אין גורמים מורכבים, אין תודעה. אין עין, אין אוזן, אין אף, אין לשון, אין גוף, אין תודעה מנטלית. אין חומר, אין צלילים, אין ריחות, אין טעמים, אין מושאי בישוש, אין תופעות. אין מרכיבי עין, אין מרכיבי תודעה מנטלית, ועד למרכיבי התודעה המנטלית העיקרית. אין בערות, אין הכחדת הבערות, ועד להזדקנות ומוות, ואף אין הכחדת הזדקנות ומוות. כמו כן, אין סבל, מקור, התפסקות ודרך. אין חוכמה נשגבת, אין השגה, ואף אין אי השגה. שריקודרה. לפיכך, משום שאין השגה, מסתמכים הבודיסטוות על שלמות החוכמה ושומעים בה. משום שבתודעתם אין מערפלים, אין בהם ככה. מי שחלפו כליל מעבר לשגוי, הם מגיעים לשלמות של החלוף מעבר לצד. כמו כן, להסתמך על שלמות החוכמה, הגיעו כל הבודות השוכנים בשלושת הזמנים לבודיות שלמה לחלוטין, הערה שמה בהחלט. לפיכך, מנטות שלמות החוכמה, מנטות הידיעה הכבירה, המנטה שאין נעלה ממנה, המנטה המשתווה למה שאין שווה לו, המנטה המשכינה כליל שווה בכל הסבל, משום שאינה שקרית, דש היא אמיתית. מנטות שלמות החוכמה נאמרת, תאייתה, גתה, קרא סמה גתה, עוזי סומה. שריקודרה, על הבודיסטווה מעסטווה להתאמן כך בשלמות החוכמה המעמיקה. ואז יצא הבגבה מהעיצוב המדיטטיבי הזה ונשא מילות שבח לבודיסטווה מעסטווה אריה אבלוקשישבר הרב העוצמה. טוב מאוד, בין השושלת צדקה. יש לעסוק בשלמות החוכמה המעמיקה כפי שציינת, ואתה תגתו תרבה מסמכותך. כשהעניק הבגבה לתרומתו כך, סמכו שריקודרה הנכבד, הבודיסטווה מעסטווה אריה אבלוקשישבר הרב העוצמה, הסובבים האלה כולם בצירוף הישויות השמיניות, בני האנוש, הישויות השמיניות במחוצה והגדה רבה, ושיקחו את שאמר הבגבה. Take refuge, page 10, in Hebrew, and then four immeasurables in page 11. בבודה, בדרמה ובקהילה העילאית, מבקש מקלט עד להערה. באמצעות המצבורים של הקשבה לדרמה, ולהשיג גדלות כדי להוביל ליצורים הגדולים. בבודה, בדרמה ובקהילה העילאית, מבקש מקלט עד להערה. באמצעות המצבורים של הקשבה לדרמה, ולהשיג גדלות כדי להוביל ליצורים הגדולים. בבודה, בדרמה ובקהילה העילאית, מבקש מקלט הפרט עד להערה. באמצעות המצבורים של הקשבה לדרמה, להשיג מודעות ולהועיל ליצורים המודדים. לו יזכו כל בעלי התודעה באושר ובמור הרש. ולו ייפרדו כל בעלי התודעה מסבל ומגורמי הסבל. לו לעולם לא ייפרדו כל בעלי התודעה מאושר ומלכות כאב. לו יפתחו כל בעלי התודעה את מידת הישנות וללא משוא פנים של התקשרות ושל ספיזה.
So let me do a short review on the second scope, right, which we talked yesterday. So yesterday one of the questions was, what is the purpose of the second scope? That is a very good question. And then now I guess you have a little bit of understanding the purpose of it. So now this second scope and the third scope has a mutual base or practice. This is the practice of emptiness or selflessness. So we talked about the four schools, Buddhist schools, how are their views on the selflessness and emptiness. So we covered the first two and then Chitta Mantra, and now I think maybe we go briefly on the view of Prasangika and then Svatandaka. So now remember why the emptiness is important and selflessness is important. So in order to overcome this suffering and to believe and to grow more faith and to bring more confidence in the practice that you are doing, you believe that there is a possibility to abandon the suffering, and then there is a chance there can be achieved cessation, the truth of the cessation. So every morning when you wake up, I think the best practice will be remember, if you think you are Buddhist, then you should think, I have chosen this life this way of having faith. So my faith is not the Buddha is holy, not because he is a very interesting person. I choose because he taught something that he has taught there is a possibility to bring a cessation, and then no need to suffer again and again. So this life, I have to go to work, I have to do so many things, but for importance of my life, and I will bring this practice at the first, whatever you start doing any samsaric life. So try to think a little bit about, first you think a little bit about, without any study, and it is not possible. So you should read a book and try to bring this into a practice, and then feel and put the examples. So every time we need an example. Examples make us the point much easier. So what is the best example? Some examples are written in the books, but then sometimes way of your thinking gives more better way of understanding. So then once you, with this kind of influence in your mind the whole day, so once you go to work and you have face some problem with your boss or your colleagues, and then at the moment it is not possible because we have this strong strong influence of our past lives. We have the habit, and anger comes, and then everything comes out very quickly. But then once you feel I did maybe something I did wrong, and that time then you have possible to think about your mistake. Then this is how we learn from it, right? So saying I'm right, but okay, I forgive you, that is not really forgive, I think. But the most thing is, if it is about compassion, then it is something like you have anger, I have anger. This is something to do with action. And then once His Holiness very good, he makes a very good point on this. We are always biased. The sign, the proof is when you did something wrong, then we will say you are wrong. But then if I yourself did something wrong, then you will say there are so many excuses. Yesterday something happened, and then sorry, I put all my anger on you, something like this. And then you have lots of excuses. But others, you don't have any excuse. You just say, this behavior is really bad. You did something very unrespectful to me. So this is how you fight for it, and this is how we think. So on yourself, you have some way of making some excuses, right? So once you do this, the true forgiveness is, then you think about the anger of others or anger of yours. How does this anger comes from? And what is, it looks so strong, it looks like I really need to think about it. It is coming every time in my mind. But then what is really importance of it? So then it goes until the ignorance mind. So then the best answer you will get is, I am important. And then first person, in English when we learn, I, you is first person, and then she, he, it is something second and third. Similar to this. We're making fun of English. That's why I'm not improving my English. Okay. it's not really like this. Maybe influence of bodhicitta. Just kidding. There's no like the first second is how long, right? So then when you think about, yes, I am important, she is important, but then you have to check how you are taking this, maybe English word, too seriously. Too is negative, our is negative. This is a very good way of thinking. Maybe it's too much, maybe I'm putting too much on this. This is why I am seeing this person is a bad person. I am a very good person. Maybe I'm seeing too good in me. So then once you have to face with this negative too much, then the emptiness really helps you to cool down. So every practice, when your mind goes like full of stress and you feel like hopeless, then practice of bodhicitta and compassion and then emptiness should, what we say, make you kind of, I don't know in English how to say, lift your mind. Okay, that's good one. To lift your mind. Then once you are like too happy or you are full of so much, what we call, too much pleasure, then to calm down, you think about happiness and compassion. So if it helps you to balance this way, then it is the one of the sign that you are on the right track. So because it's dependent, right? So we will talk more about bodhicitta and emptiness in this next coming session at 4 or something, right? On 8 verses. So this is the best way to lift your mind and then down your mind for a little bit or calm your mind. Very good teaching. 8 verses of Ishilangatanga. Very mind-changing, very good. So here, so now in a Heart Sutra, if you look on here, it says form is empty. Emptiness is form. That emptiness is not other than form. Form is not other than emptiness. So at that time, my teacher, King Jazula, so he will, if you check well, while he talk about this, he will become so relaxed. I noticed that for a long time, because I received teaching of Madhyamika from him in IBD. So with all the students, I noticed this. So then his eyes will be a little bit not fully closed and something half closed, and then it looks like it is not like this. It is more like, how you call it? Just you know what I mean, right? So then he goes on to keep teaching. So form is here. So form is empty. Emptiness is form. Form is empty, it's okay, right? So he explains like that. Then what does emptiness is form? Very deep meaning in this. But for ordinary being like me, first time it doesn't make any sense. You can say this is empty because no inherent existence. You just look at it, there's nothing. So you can go down. But now to lift up or to bring you have to bring the cup again. This is not an easy job. Easy to destroy, right? Damage. But to fix it, it's bigger problem. So if you can do this, so now form is empty, and emptiness is form. So if you take like that emptiness of this form, no, not like this, but it is written like this, but there's something hidden message inside there. So it says, because it is empty of inherent existence, so there's possible that all the parts of the curve is dependent. If it is true existence by its own, then why dependent? Because it can exist by its own. It's same thing like if we have some fight in a family, you can say, I'm an independent person. I don't need to depend on you anymore. I live my own living, and I have a good business. So goodbye, right? So it's a sign of that you don't need to depend on this. The same thing. If the curve is, it can stand by its own without any depending on its parts, then we can say this is really inherent existence curve. But then when you just break it, then you have to put it all up together. That it's a big sign, because without this the cab or this handle, it is unfinished. So you add everything, then there's a curve. But that means it is dependent on all parts. So that means the form is empty. So you know that, because no inherent existence. So emptiness is form means because it's empty, that's why it's dependent. So there is only dependent curve here, not is that independent? Independent. And we say very independent, but this is our way of thinking and leveling, right? We need independence, but we depend on others. But Tibet needs independence, right? Freedom. This is where all the sufferings that we get it from China. We don't need the pressure. That's the meaning of this. But the independent curve, if you say this is not possible at all, because it's dependent. It must be always dependent. So this is why if we put in this basic way of understanding, then what happens is, while you think about there is nothing true existence by its own, then all your negative emotions has nothing to what we call to hang on to grasp. Yeah, that's a good one. Grasp into. So through that, no negative emotion arises. No end of the suffering, almost. But then you might also think at the same time, there is no existence of anything now. So through that, when you automatically think about, it does not exist by its own, but it is dependent. So dependent thing arising. So that means there is something. There is something that exists. So then you look into the qualities of Buddha, then karma, and impermanent. So then you will have more deeper understanding, pure understanding, because you have the very solid base of knowing of ultimate truth. So when we talk about emptiness, then we have to talk about two phases. The not inherent existence, and then dependent. So ultimately, giving this kind of practice every day, every time, then one time what will happen with you is when somebody says, when you tell yourself that the cup is emptiness of cup, and when you think about that, then automatically your mind will arise for the dependent cup. So that time, now you can see the cup as an illusion, because through the power of the influence of the analyzing or meditating on emptiness, and going through this heart is not it. So like in Heart Sutra, when you search for yourself, then there the head and ear and nose and no eye, no ear. It says like this, right? Doesn't mean there's no ear, no mouth, but it's saying the true existence by its own. There's no such thing as those. But then slowly, when it talks about, then when you have a very deep understanding on no true existence, and then when you arise from your meditation, then you look at all the phenomena near to you. It becomes like very artificial. Looking, you can, maybe if I touch this cup, maybe it will break down very easily. So something, this kind of influence you will get. So the benefit is, as I said before, you won't even somebody right after this kind of meditation, if your enemy walks nearby you look to this your so-called enemy, then you will look at him and then you will see, where is this enemy? And you cannot just label directly that he is the enemy. He is enemy because I make it up and put it there. Because no true existence of the enemy itself is there. But when we think this enemy, but then it's not true, because next day if he comes with he said, I won a lottery and I will give you 1 million to you, because I feel I said something bad to you, I apologize, then you will become the best friend ever, right? So that is the biggest sign there's no true existence of enemy outside there. That's why one of the friends of His Holiness, one scientist, I don't know if he's still alive or not, he is an elderly scientist, a name called Aaron Beck. So he told His Holiness that most of his life working with the patients, especially who has a strong emotion, what we call depression, and then anger, anxiety. So then he said, especially I deal with the angry people. So after now, when I check with these people, so I realized that when they say about their enemy and then the bad things of others, I have a knowledge that the person who looks at the person, mostly 90% of way of their thinking that he's really bad, it's from his mind projection. So 10% there, the condition is there, right? But mostly it's from his way of thinking. So His Holiness is so pleased